morning they came and told me that Marie was dead. The children could not be restrained now. They went and covered her coffin with flowers, and put a wreath of lovely blossoms on her head. The pastor did not throw any more shameful words at the poor dead woman. But there were very few people at the funeral. However, when it came to carrying the coffin, all the children rushed up to carry it themselves. Of course they could not do it alone, but they insisted on helping, and walked alongside and behind, crying. They have planted roses all round her grave, and every year they look after the flowers, and make Marie's resting place as beautiful as they can. I was in ill odour after all this with the parents of the children, and especially with the parson and schoolmaster. Schneider was obliged to promise that I should not meet them and talk to them, but we conversed from a distance by signs, and they used to write me sweet little notes. Afterwards I came closer than ever to those little souls, but even then it was very dear to me to have them so fond of me. Schneider said that I did the children great harm by my pernicious system. What nonsense that was! And what did he mean by my system? He said afterwards that he believed I was a child myself, just before I came away. "You have the form and face of an adult," he said, "but as regards soul and character, and perhaps even intelligence, you are a child in the completest sense of the word, and always will be if you live to be 60. I laughed very much, for of course that is nonsense. But it is a fact that I do not care to be among grown-up people, and much prefer the society of children. However kind people may be to me, I never feel quite at home with them, and am always glad to get back to my little companions. Now my companions have always been children, not because I was a child myself once, but because young things attract me. On one of the first days of my stay in Switzerland, I was strolling about alone and miserable, when I came upon the children rushing noisily out of school with their slates and bags and books, their games, their laughter and shouts, and my soul went out to them. I stopped and laughed happily as I watched their little feet moving so quickly. Girls and boys, laughing and crying, for as they went home many of them found time to fight and make peace, to weep and play. I forgot my troubles in looking at them. And then all those 3 years I tried to understand why men should be forever tormenting themselves. I lived the life of a child there, and thought I should never leave the little village. Indeed, I was far from thinking that I should ever return to Russia. But at last I recognized the fact that Schneider could not keep me any longer. And then something so important happened that Schneider himself urged me to depart. I'm going to see now if I can get good advice about it. Perhaps my lot in life will be changed, but that is not the principal thing. The principal thing is the entire change that has already come over me. I left many things behind me, too many. They have gone. On the journey I said to myself, I am going into the world of men. I don't know much, perhaps, but a new life has begun for me. I made up my mind to be honest and steadfast in accomplishing my task. Perhaps I shall meet with troubles and many disappointments, but I have made up my mind to be polite and sincere to everyone. More cannot be asked of me. People may consider me a child if they like. I am often called an idiot. And at one time I certainly was so ill that I was nearly as bad as an idiot. But I am not an idiot now. How can I possibly be so, when I know myself that I am considered one? When I received a letter from those dear little souls, while passing through Berlin, I only then realized how much I loved them. It was very, very painful, getting that first little letter. How melancholy they had been when they saw me off. For a month before they had been talking of my departure and sorrowing over it, and at the waterfall of an evening, when we parted for the night, they would hug me so tight and kiss me so warmly, far more so than before, and every now and then they would turn up one by one when I was alone, just to give me a kiss and a hug, to show their love for me. The whole flock went with me to the station, which was about a mile from the village, and every now and then one of them would stop to throw his arms round me, and all the little girls had tears in their voices, though they tried hard not to cry. As the train steamed out of the station, I saw them all standing on the platform, waving to me, and crying "Hurrah!" till they were lost in the distance. I assure you, when I came in here just now and saw your kind faces, I can read faces well, my heart felt light for the first time since that moment of parting. I think I must be one of those who were born to be in luck, for one does not often meet with people whom one feels he can love from the first sight of their faces, and yet no sooner do I step out of the railway carriage than I happen upon you. I know it is more or less a shamefaced thing to speak of one's feelings before others, and yet here am I talking like this to you, and am not a bit ashamed or shy. I am an unsociable sort of fellow, and shall very likely not come to see you again for some time, but don't think the worse of me for that. It is not that I do not value your society, and you must never suppose that I have taken offence at anything. You asked me about your faces, and what I could read in them. I will tell you with the greatest pleasure. You, Adelaida Ivanovna, have a very happy face. It is the most sympathetic of the three. Not to speak of your natural beauty, one can look at your face and say to oneself, she has the face of a kind sister. You are simple and merry, but you can see into another's heart very quickly. That's what I read in your face. You too, Alexandra Ivanovna, have a very lovely face, but I think you may have some secret sorrow. Your heart is undoubtedly a kind, good one, but you are not merry. There is a suspicion of shadow in your face, like in that of Holbein's Madonna, in Dresden. So much for your face. Have I guessed right? As for your face, Lizabetha Prokofievna, I not only think, but am perfectly sure that you are an absolute child. In all, mind, both good and bad, and in spite of your years. Don't be angry with me for saying so, you know what my feelings for children are. And do not suppose that I am so candid out of pure simplicity of soul. Oh dear no, it is by no means the case. Perhaps I have my own very profound object in view. End of Part 1, Chapter 6. Recording by Martin Geeson.